It's hard to imagine that every day there are hundreds of thousands of children around the world with no place really to call home. In honor of National Adoption Month, we are spotlighting one local couple that has opened their hearts and their home to children from all walks of life. Take a look at this week's In Search Of report.
Everybody's eating. That's how you know you got a good meal right there, isn't it?
West Salem couple Clint and Kimberly West already had two healthy biological children when they adopted their two sons, Onesimus in 2008 and Rock in 2009. Both boys came to them through domestic adoption, and Clint and Kimberly strongly believe a higher power had a hand in bringing them together.
When you adopt a baby, it's like there's no denying that, like, God picked this baby over here and you guys over here and, like, smashed you together, and now you're just this family that God's created.
Faith or fate? You decide. But listen to the rest of the story before you do. Because long before they ever had children, Kimberly made a statement that Clint remembers to this day.
A few years ago, she's like, man, I think we've got twins in Africa. She journals it down, and she tells me about it, and I think, oh, this is nothing, you know. But I was like, before we adopted Onesimus, I was like, well, we should adopt from Ethiopia, you know. And she's like, I don't feel like we have kids in Ethiopia. I was like, well, there's no other place in Africa to adopt.
Not quite true. It turns out there's an American-run orphanage called Good Shepherd's Fold in a little town in Uganda. So this past January, with the help of Lutheran Social Services, they turned in an application.
I was like, when do you think we're going to hear something? When do you think we're going to get a referral? And he's like, I don't know, March 7th. And then March 7th, we're laying in bed.
10:30 at night.
It's 10:30, and I'm like, can you just check your email? Because it's March 7th, and you said it was going to be, I'm so like. And he's like, I just shut my phone off. I didn't get any emails today. I'm like, just check it, please.
One more time.
Check it. And he checks it. There's an email from Claudia, and we open it up, and it's twin girls, 11 years old. And I'm just like, immediately like, oh my gosh, like, these are our twins.
A few months later, on May 8th, Mother's Day,
28 and a half hours of travel has brought us to this moment here.
They both flew to Uganda to meet their new daughters, Martha and Grace.
I think I see him. I totally see him right there. They had flowers for Mother's Day. They said, Happy Mother's Day, Mama.
They spent several weeks in Uganda waiting for the adoption to go through.
It was really overwhelming. I was like physically sick. I've never done a third world country before. Like, you see it on TV, but it is a whole nother ballgame when you're like...
You can smell it and taste it.
It's incredible. I remember, like, I sat with a couple of boys, and one of them had HIV, and he said, what if they would have been sick? Would you have taken them if they would have been sick? And I said, yeah, I would have. And really, they're just asking, what if it would have been me? They know what's going on. They know that they aren't leaving, a lot of them, you know. And so having, you know, I went with Martha and Grace to say goodbye to all their friends, and, like, their mouths were smiling, but their eyes were just like, you know, it, like, ripped your heart out. Like, it just wrecked me.
On June 13th, they arrived at the La Crosse airport to a host of family and friends anxiously waiting to meet them.
I didn't know there were going to be like that many.
I thought it was going to be the family.
Today, life is admittedly a little crazy for the Wests.
People say to Kimberly, they say, you've got your hands full, when they should say, of good things, full of good things.
Good things that they truly believe were always part of the plan.
When I think about the fact that on April 13th of 2002, we walked down the aisle. At that time, God already had twin 2-year-old girls that we were bound to adopt this year.
There we go, like that. Oh, yeah.
Because of adoption, this family has been uniquely woven together.
To think that we have kids in our family that have our name that will be forever grafted into our family tree, that come from Chicago and Houston, Texas, and Jinja, Uganda. It's really out of this world humbling, and but satisfying at the same time because we made a difference.
I just would have never dreamed that's what our family would have looked like. Never in a million years.
Would you have it any other way?
No, no, definitely not. I mean, they're just ours, all of them.
In West Salem with photographer Kirk Arneson, Jennifer Livingston, News 8.
Now, I got to tell you, I asked them if the period was on the end of the sentence for this family. I don't think so.
Left the door open?
You know, they admitted that when they left that orphanage in Uganda, how difficult it was to say goodbye to the children that they were leaving behind, and they close their eyes and they still see those faces of the kids that don't have homes yet.
Right.
And they said, you know, it would be really difficult, I think, to not want to go again and bring home, you know, another child or two or, you know, whatever from Uganda. But it's such an amazing family, and you look at that picture and you're like, not a traditional family, but sure looks like a good one, doesn't it? If you are interested in finding out more about adoption, if you're interested in adopting a child, either domestically or internationally, there are several local organizations that can help you out. We're going to post the information on our website for both Lutheran Social Services and Catholic Charities, so check us out at news8000.com.